Hello, everyone. Welcome to Joe Consume Cinema. I'm your host. We do reviews now. And welcome to the first in the Joe Reviews series with my review to the Netflix miniseries 0 Day. So I got recommended this by a user on Blue Sky by the name of Chris. Thanks so much for the recommendation. She's a really big supporter of Ukraine. So am I. So I just want to say Slava Ukraini, and thanks so much for the recommendation. One of the cool things being over there on Blue Sky is I've had so many, organic conversations where people have recommended me stuff. I ended up watching it and loved it, and some of it has ended up on the channel, which is really cool. This is my 3 reasons why you should watch the Netflix miniseries 0 Day, and let's start right now. Number 1, Robert De Niro has still got it. So Robert De Niro can still give a very passionate and dialogue-driven performance, just not so much a physical performance in my opinion, and because of that, this is the perfect role for him. He plays the long since retired US President Mullen, and his performance in that is like the heart of the show. I'm a big fan of The Irishman, if you've ever seen that movie, and I have one key problem with that because of Robert De Niro's physical performance in that film. Robert De Niro's character has to beat up a 40-year-old man, and it's very obvious in that moment that you're watching a 70-something-year-old man attempt to beat up a 40-year-old man, and it just kind of takes you out of the film. Overall, I really enjoyed The Irishman. It's just Robert De Niro is past his physical prime, so much so that he can't do the physical side of acting anymore, which is a shame because if you know anything about Robert De Niro, he has a plethora of great performances driven by, his physicality. His discipline and dedication to film and cinema is a huge part of his career. But you have to recognize reality, and at this point, his physical acting days are over with. The good thing here is, that's not what's going on at all in this series. It's all dialogue driven and, his passion and still excellent, stagecraft and presence. He still has it in that. That he's never lost. But yeah, I am well versed in, Robert De Niro's entire career. I actually have currently on my channel the Joe Revisit series where I am currently working through almost his entire filmography, and the man has done so much for film and cinema. He just has a legendary career, and right now on my channel, I'm still in the middle of revisiting a ton of his great movies, and yeah, the man has done so much. Really just impressed with everything from him, and it's so cool to get recommended this miniseries as I'm working my way through all of his great films, and it was just awesome timing because it really, really works out where I got to watch something in the middle of, working through his entire filmography and, still appreciate the man, even more so for what he can do even today. So that's just great. But number 2, it's very short. It's only 6 episodes, probably 5 hours, 30 minutes in total view time. It's a very self-contained story. It has a decisive conclusion, so it's not trying to do, the typical cash grab nonsense where it turns into this episodic thing that just goes on forever. It has a message, it delivers it, and then, it gets in, it gets out, and that's it. So I binge watched it in less than 2 days. I probably could have did it in a day. I just happened to start it, kind of late at night, so I only was able to do like 2 episodes. Got up the next morning and, took care of the last 4, no problem, straight through. It really is that good, so it's definitely worth, the less than 6 hours time investment. You can start something that's very good and then be over and done with it in a day if you really wanted to. And number 3, it speaks to some things that the world is going through right now, namely a post-truth world, compromising on our ideals for political convenience. That one in particular has not worked out well for America recently, and if you're an American, you know exactly what I'm talking about. 2 really key moments throughout the show for me, and they both revolve around, again, Robert De Niro. Can't praise the man enough for what he's done in film in general, but also in this series, it's excellent. He is the heart and soul of the show, and yeah, it really shines through. But he has 2 very key moments where he really sells me on, the ideal trying to be presented in the show. He's talking in front of a crowd that thinks that none of this is real. These are all crisis actors. This is nonsense. There's a great amount of distrust, even with just basic reality. And, he speaks directly to that saying, you're only acting this way because you're scared. You're not helping yourselves. You're not helping anyone right now. Like, let the professionals do their job. Just very nuts and bolts, telling the truth to a crowd of conspiracy theorists. Very refreshing. That happens multiple times throughout the show. And the other moment has to be, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but the ending speech is just so great. His character just decides at the end to tell the truth, Even though it costs him personally, he does it anyway, which, I can really appreciate that sacrifice. It's one of the best parts of the show. You have this man who really believes what he believes and is unwilling to compromise on it, even in the case of, protecting his own family. So many people have these points of vulnerability that force them into a situation where they have to compromise their ideals, and he just does not. And that was great. I love that moment. Quick 3 reasons why you should watch the Netflix miniseries Zero Day. Again, I just want to say thanks to Chris for the recommendation. I really enjoyed the miniseries, and yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So as always, thanks for watching, and peace.